From ruling the largest land empire in history to being sandwiched between two superpowers, Mongolia's journey is nothing short of extraordinary. How did a nation that once struck fear into the hearts of its neighbors end up struggling for relevance on the world stage? Let's explore the rise, fall, and potential resurgence of this fascinating country. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great! Thank you so much! Now, back to the video. From ruling an empire to being ruled by others, Mongolia's journey is a stark reminder of how quickly fortunes can change. Did you know that for over 200 years, Mongolia was under Chinese control? And just when it thought it had regained independence, it fell under the shadow of another giant, the Soviet Union. This dramatic shift in Mongolia's fate is a testament to the unpredictable nature of history and the resilience of a nation's spirit. The decline of the Mongol Empire wasn't just about losing territory, it was about losing identity. As internal conflicts and external pressures mounted, the once unified empire began to fragment. The fall was gradual but relentless, leaving Mongolia vulnerable to foreign powers that had long feared its might. In 1691, Mongolia found itself under the control of the Qing dynasty, marking the beginning of a long period of Chinese rule. For over 2 centuries, Mongolian culture and traditions were suppressed, with the Qing exerting significant influence over the country's political landscape. This period saw the erosion of many aspects of traditional Mongolian life, as the ruling powers sought to assimilate the once mighty conquerors. A brief glimmer of hope appeared in 1911 when Mongolia declared independence from the Qing dynasty. However, this freedom was short-lived. In 1919, Chinese troops occupied the country, snuffing out the flame of independence that had barely had a chance to burn. But the story doesn't end there. In a twist of fate, it was the Soviet Red Army that came to Mongolia's aid, supporting a revolution in 1921. While this intervention freed Mongolia from Chinese control, it came at a price. Mongolia became a satellite state of the USSR, trading one form of foreign influence for another. The Soviet era brought significant changes to Mongolian society. Traditional practices, including religious ceremonies and the nomadic lifestyle that had defined Mongolian culture for centuries, were actively suppressed. The impact of Soviet policies on Mongolia was profound. Imagine a culture built on the freedom of the steppes, suddenly confined by political borders and ideological constraints. The very essence of what it meant to be Mongolian was under threat. Yet, even in these challenging times, the spirit of the Mongolian people refused to be extinguished. When the Soviet Union collapsed in 1990, Mongolia faced a new set of challenges. The country that had relied heavily on Soviet support suddenly found itself adrift in a sea of economic uncertainty. The loss of Soviet trade, which had accounted for a staggering 40% of Mongolia's GDP, plunged the nation into a severe economic crisis. The 1990s marked Mongolia's transition to democracy, a period fraught with political instability and economic hardships. The shift from a one-party system to a multi-party democracy was not smooth, and the country grappled with the complexities of building new political and economic systems from the ground up. Yet amid these challenges, something remarkable was happening. The resilience of Mongolian culture, which had endured centuries of external influence and control, began to shine through. Traditional practices and beliefs, long suppressed but never forgotten, started to re-emerge. The revival of shamanism and other cultural traditions served as a powerful reminder of the enduring strength of Mongolian identity. As Mongolia steps into the modern era, it's not just battling harsh winters, it's fighting to keep its cultural flame alive. In a city where temperatures plummet to -42 degrees, how does the coldest capital in the world manage to be a hotbed of both tradition and progress? Welcome to Ulaanbaatar, the heart of modern Mongolia and the world's coldest capital city. Here, amid temperatures that can drop to a bone-chilling 42 degrees below zero, nearly half of Mongolia's population calls this metropolis home. But Ulaanbaatar is more than just a test of human endurance against the elements. It's a symbol of Mongolia's struggle to balance its rich cultural heritage with the demands of the 21st century. Imagine a city where ancient shamanic practices coexist with cutting-edge technology, where traditional yurts stand in the shadow of modern skyscrapers. This is the reality of today's Mongolia, a nation striving to preserve its unique identity while embracing the opportunities of globalization. The revival of traditional practices in post-Soviet Mongolia has been nothing short of remarkable. Shamanism, once suppressed under communist rule, has re-emerged as a vital part of the nation's spiritual fabric. This resurgence isn't just about rekindling old beliefs, it's a testament to the resilience of Mongolian culture. The unique blend of shamanic practices with Buddhism, known as yellow shamanism, showcases the adaptability of Mongolian spirituality in the face of historical challenges. But Mongolia's cultural renaissance isn't limited to spiritual practices. The country's ancient festivals have found new life in the modern era. Take the Nadam Festival, for instance. This celebration of Mongolia's three manly sport, wrestling, horse racing, and archery, has become a vibrant showcase of national pride and traditional skills. It's not just a nod to the past. It's a living, breathing part of contemporary Mongolian identity. Yet, amidst this cultural revival, Mongolia faces the very real challenges of modernization. Ulaanbaatar, despite its frigid temperatures, grapples with air pollution issues stemming from coal-based heating systems. This environmental concern highlights the complex balance Mongolia must strike between preserving traditional ways of life and adopting sustainable modern practices. Perhaps nowhere is this balance more evident than in Mongolia's enduring nomadic heritage. Even today, around 40% of Mongolia's workforce is engaged in herding livestock. This connection to the land and traditional ways of life is more than just an economic reality. It's a fundamental part of what it means to be Mongolian. The continued practice of yurt living, even in urban areas, serves as a tangible link between Mongolia's past and present. The Mongolian wild horse, also known as the Przewalski's horse, stands as a powerful symbol of this nation's connection to its natural heritage. Once extinct in the wild, these majestic creatures have been successfully reintroduced to their native steppes. Their survival and resurgence mirror Mongolia's own journey of cultural preservation and adaptation. In recent years, Mongolia has seen growing international interest in its unique culture and stunning landscapes. Events like the Golden Eagle Festival, celebrated by the Kazakh people in Western Mongolia, have captured the world's imagination. This festival, showcasing the ancient art of hunting with golden eagles, has become a magnet for tourists and photographers from around the globe. While Mongolia's natural wonders draw tourists, its geopolitical situation presents a far more complex challenge. How does a nation with just 3 million people maintain its sovereignty when sandwiched between two of the world's most powerful countries? Mongolia's unique position, nestled between Russia and China, creates a delicate balancing act that requires careful diplomacy and strategic thinking. Imagine being a country with the lowest population density in the world, trying to assert your independence while being economically dependent on your neighbors. This is the reality for Mongolia, where approximately 80% of exports go to China, primarily consisting of coal, copper, and unprocessed cashmere. This heavy reliance on a single market puts Mongolia in a vulnerable position, subject to the economic whims of its giant neighbor. But Mongolia isn't content to simply be a pawn in the games of superpowers. The country has developed a clever strategy known as the third neighbor policy. This approach aims to build strong ties with countries beyond its immediate neighbors such as the USA, Japan, and South Korea. By diversifying its international relationships, Mongolia hopes to reduce its dependence on China and Russia and secure its place on the global stage. The United States plays a crucial role in this strategy, with Mongolia describing it as its most important third neighbor. This relationship allows Mongolia to influence global political processes and enhance its security. It's a smart move for a small nation looking to punch above its weight in international affairs. Mongolia's commitment to global cooperation extends beyond diplomatic ties. Did you know that about 10% of Mongolia's armed forces serve in UN peacekeeping missions? This active participation in international operations showcases Mongolia's dedication to being a responsible global citizen, despite its challenging geopolitical position. However, the path to independence and relevance is not without its obstacles. China's economic leverage over Mongolia can lead to significant vulnerabilities. In 2016, for example, China imposed import tariffs on Mongolian goods after a visit from the Dalai Lama, demonstrating how quickly economic ties can be used as a political tool. Yet Mongolia's strategic importance extends beyond its immediate region. The country's diplomatic relations with North Korea position it as a potential mediator in regional conflicts. This unique role further underscores Mongolia's value on the international stage and provides another avenue for asserting its independence. Balancing relationships with its powerful neighbors while pursuing broader international engagement is a constant challenge for the Mongolian government. The good neighbor policy with Russia and China must be carefully maintained alongside the third neighbor strategy. It's a diplomatic dance that requires skill, foresight, and a deep understanding of global politics. Russia's concerns about China's growing influence in Mongolia add another layer of complexity to this geopolitical puzzle. To counter Chinese expansion, Russia prioritizes strengthening economic ties with Ulaanbaatar. For Mongolia, this creates both opportunities and challenges as it navigates the competing interests of its powerful neighbors.